Well, what's up again there, guys? Brian here at 3TR. Welcome to episode 211 of my weekly Q&A show, The People's Questions, where I answer all the awesome questions that my awesome viewers have sent me over the past week. This time we got a pretty standard episode coming from about 5 of you, including one newbie who I will be saving for last. So starting off real simple with the first 3 questions coming from Mr. Numero Uno, Mr. Santinigo Scarpino, and you want to know, which is the worst movie I've ever seen? Well, that's an easy one. Movie 43. Look up my review for it. You'll get the craziest reaction you will ever see from me on this channel. I even talk about doing crack, heroin, and some other drug substance I choose not to talk about, and I still wouldn't prepare for what I saw that day. Next question. Which is my personal favorite versus matchup that I have done? Oh, I absolutely love my Cloud versus Zack matchup. Not only because it was the most popular video, it's really one of the most popular versus matchup I've ever done. I'm really proud how that came together. I really loved the response. If anything, what really makes me proud of a versus matchup that I've done is seeing the response in the comments. And there have been a lot of people supporting both Cloud and Zack in explaining why each of them would win. And I have not had that kind of response from any of my versus matchups, so that's the one I'm most proud of. And the last question is, which is my favorite Game Boy Advance game? As much as I would love to see a Pokemon game, I would say a Pokemon game falls more into Game Boy Color or the original Game Boy, but if I could pick a Game Boy Advance game, it would have to be Yu-Gi-Oh! Stairway to Destiny, simply because it's probably the most advanced or the newest version of the old school Yu-Gi-Oh! Games before they went to crap. And even when I have built my dream deck, which I've done it multiple times, that game with some of the harder duelists in that game are still very, very difficult, and it's still a very, very strategic game. And that's why, I continue to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Even though I haven't really had a real opponent in some time, and I'm trying to get back into the game, but it's proven to be quite difficult. The next 3 questions are coming from Matthew Vader, and you want to know, who would win in a fight, Jack from Mass Effect 2 or Arya from Mass Effect 2? That's an easy one. Jack would probably win. Arya, even though she's an Asari are extremely powerful, I don't think Arya has the combative destructive force behind her use of biotics. You piss off Jack, and that girl is a force of nature. And we just have not seen that level of destructive power from Arya, so I have no question that Jack would be able to take down Arya. The next question is, if I could create a new Final Fantasy game, what timeline would I pick from any of the Final Fantasy games? If I had to pick a new Final Fantasy game, it would obviously have to be a sequel to a previous one. If I could make a sequel to any Final Fantasy game, I would probably want to pick Final Fantasy VIII. I think that there's a lot more you could do with that story. The stories of 7 has already had plenty of sequels. 10 already had a sequel. They were hinting at a 10-3. I personally would love to see that. 6, I think with how that game ended, you can't really do much with it because I think it wrapped itself up in a bow. But I think that there's enough questions left unanswered. There's enough mystery to that game that you actually could see where these guys as seeds would grow and develop into the next challenge. So I think I would make a sequel to Final Fantasy VIII. Your next question is, who would I work out with? Rex, Grunt, or Kratos? Well, I would not pick Kratos. Don't get me wrong, Spartan training is intense, but I probably wouldn't survive it. I think Rex is a little bit too aggressive, so I think I would pick Grunt. Grunt, being genetically engineered, he has that drive of his warrior class, but I think he's a little bit more lighthearted, and so he definitely would probably push me to get into very, very good shape, but I don't think he would push me so far that it would probably kill me, so I would definitely pick Grunt to work out with. The next 2 questions come from Nick the Ninja, and you want to know, do I think that games are better now than compared to the PlayStation 2 era? Hell no, absolutely not. We are not entering an era of gaming in which we don't get complete games, and even when we get good games, they're never complete. Everything we have now has to have DLC. I really think that the last truly great era of gaming was last generation, because at least there was a good number of games that were complete. But nowadays, every single game has to have DLC content, and so when you're paying $60, you're not paying $60. You're paying $60 to buy maybe 80% of the game, and then they'll release the other 20% when you decide to give them more money, which I think is ridiculous. And then they trick you into buying these season passes, so now you're actually paying even more than what you should be paying. And I think that's absolutely bullshit. So, no. Back then, when you paid a full price game, you got a full game. I miss those days. I recently went to a retro gaming store this week, for those of you who follow me on Instagram, and I bought 3 games. I bought a hard copy, original copy of Final Fantasy VII. I also bought Final Fantasy VII Dirge of Cerberus, and I also bought Star Wars Battlefront 2. And I've been playing it on that PlayStation 2 over there, and it has been amazing going back and playing some of those older games. Next question is, what do I think the current direction of games, or what do I think of the current direction? Well, I kind of just spoke about that, about how I feel about this current generation. I don't like it. We're gonna get, my greatest fear is that we're gonna get games that are coming out that are done episodically. I personally don't like that. I don't like where I have to buy these games piece by piece by piece. They serve no purpose except to drain more money out of you. We're getting to the point where we're paying more for sections of game instead of just giving a full game, and I think that's ridiculous. I mean, there are literally so many games that I refuse to play just because they're episodic, and I don't care if I have to wait 3 months to buy the full game. It makes no sense. Release the full game now or wait till it's completely done, but don't sell it to me in pieces. That's just ridiculous. The next question comes from JDS4696, and you want to know, when do I think Final Fantasy 15 will be released? Oh, well, Square already kind of told us when it was going to come out. They said it's absolutely coming out this year. I think we'll definitely get a release date probably in the next 2 months. If not, we'll definitely have a release date by E3 this year, guarantees. But it's absolutely coming out this year, and it's my most anticipated game of this year. And the last 2 questions come from the newbie of the episode, so welcome to the show, Mr. Green Siren. Hope I said that right. And you want to know first, who would win in a fight? Obi-Wan Kenobi from Attack of the Clones era, or Luke Skywalker from Return of the Jedi? That's funny. Luke Skywalker would get his ass handed to him by Obi-Wan Kenobi, because Obi-Wan Kenobi during the Clone Wars was a Jedi Master. The only reason Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi even had a chance to beat Vader was A, he had become very used to fighting Vader, and B, Vader was holding back. If Vader had really wanted Luke Skywalker dead, he would have been killed. Luke Skywalker, by Return of the Jedi, in terms of his skill level, would be borderline at a max, low-level Jedi Knight. But Obi-Wan Kenobi during the Clone Wars was a Jedi Master and was the ultimate master of Surisu. There is no way in hell Luke Skywalker would penetrate Obi-Wan Kenobi's defense. Not even Anakin Skywalker, who would absolutely destroy Luke Skywalker, could break through Obi-Wan Kenobi's defense. And if he couldn't do it, Luke Skywalker damn sure ain't doing it. And Obi-Wan Kenobi is a much more creative Force user than Luke Skywalker, and more powerful, so that would be a one-sided fight hands down. Your next question is, who would I want my master to be? Splinter, Yoda, or Shao Kahn? Why in God's name would I pick Shao Kahn or Splinter? Why would I want a master who would kill me if I make even the smallest mistake? I mean, at least Yoda is very peaceful and he doesn't really believe in punishment. He's a very, very open and enlightening master. Not so much the greatest warrior, and there are definitely other masters in the Jedi Order I could learn more from. But in terms of a master I think I could learn more in terms of knowledge, I would absolutely pick Yoda. And last question, who would win in a fight between Agent 47 from Hitman Absolution or Batman, The Dark Knight Returns? Despite Batman having a significant age defect over Hitman, I think Batman would have no problems. He's dealt with Hitman before. I mean, for God's sake, the guy deals with Deadshot. And Deadshot is a far better Hitman, skill-wise and tactics-wise, than Agent 47. So, Batman hands down. And those are all the questions you guys sent for this episode. I'd like to thank all of you guys for making this episode possible. If you guys have any more questions you'd like me to answer in next week's episode, be sure to type them in the comments down below. Make sure you get them into me before next week before I start filming this. Remember, limit it to only 3 questions per person. Like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will see you next time.